Yes, I think, yeah, we are live now.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, Nirav. Welcome. In fact, this is, I think, the first time I'm seeing you online or in like your face. In fact, we have already always interacted over phone or on WhatsApp. So good evening to people who are watching us likely or later, the recorded video. I'm Sudha Mayappan and I am the founder of Parivarthan for Parkinson's Foundation. And Nirav is one of our caregiver members. So we'll talk to him today on his journey as a caregiver for somebody affected with Parkinson's in his family. So we'll get the whole story of the unraveling of Parkinson's. What does he do? Because I know Nirav is one of those hands-on caregivers who likes to research a lot, who likes to understand the disorder, and with a very informed manner, he takes care of his parent with Parkinson's. And usually, Dhanalakshmi, our program manager, joins us, but unfortunately, today she couldn't be with us. But she arranged for all of it. So, a big thanks to her before I start. And Nirav, welcome. And I know we both have been doing back and forth of scheduling time, canceling, postponing, and all that. It's finally happening on a Saturday evening. So, thank you so much. So, Nirav, why don't we start with basics of who you are, what do you do, who in your family has Parkinson's?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for inviting me. And I think thanks to your team. I don't know how many people are there behind the scene. And I think it's good to know that you are one of the founder of that community. So thanks for doing all the social support which you are going to. So let me introduce myself. I am Nirav Shah. I born and brought up in Mumbai. So I did all my schooling and everything in Mumbai. I also completed my graduation from Mumbai. And I'm 35 years old. I'm married. I have a 9 years old daughter. She's in third standard. She's also going to school.
Oh.
And with me, my both parents are staying. So my mother and father. And my father is
Your video got stuck, Nirav. I think Nirav was saying that his father is the one affected with Parkinson's. Your video is a bit patchy, Nirav. Let's just, until we wait for him to come back, I'll just fill in some information. So it's very rare for us in the Parivarthan community to have a son or as a primary caregiver. I mean, there are some amazing children like Nirav that we know of personally who are the sole or like the primary caregivers for their fathers mostly. And as most of you who are watching this might know, Parkinson's is a disorder that predominantly affects men. So most often than not, with the fathers being affected, lot of sons are caregivers. We have known personally of many. Sorry, Nirav, you got cut. You were saying your father has Parkinson's.
yeah. Yeah, sorry,
How
I
old?
had some network issue, but I'm back here.
Yeah, yeah. How
So,
old
yeah,
is
my
your dad?
father is suffering. Yeah, so my father is 62 years old and we understood Parkinson in very early age. Like around when he was 48, 49, we figured it out that he's having a Parkinson's. And
Okay.
that's how since last 13, 14 years, he's already suffering through Parkinson's.
You were in
So,
your early 20s when your father was diagnosed.
yeah, I was around I think, in my third year of engineering or fourth year of engineering.
Abba.
Yeah. So, and
Can
how
we
we
can
figure
we
it out?
can we go through that process a little, Nirav? It's very
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because
It's
your
a good,
father be- because your father would fall into the category of young onset. No,
correct,
he was in
exactly.
his 40s. So tell me one thing, like as a family, what were the initial symptoms you noticed that made you go to
Yeah,
an
yeah. So basically, my father was a businessman. So he runs a retail shop of agarbatti and everything. So, and he's a alone person who is handling the entire shop. So there is no other one supporting. Okay. So how his routine generally happens that he wakes up around 8 o'clock, he gets ready, etc. And at 9 o'clock, he's very disciplined. Actually. So at 9 o'clock, he will leave the home for the shop. He will go to the shop, he will open the shop, he will do the cleaning stuff, he will do some of the spiritual stuff in the shop, and then slowly he will. And then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he will come back. So my shop and the home are only 300 meters away from each other. It's very near. So from 2 to 4 o'clock, he most of the time he will come to the home for a lunch, and then he will have a 1 hour of sleep, and then again 4 or 4:30 in the evening he will go to the shop. He will spend, then in the night 10 o'clock he will come back. So that's how his routine, and it's like it's a 7 week. There is no holiday, so he will just keep on doing the stuff 365 days. Uh, at some point when I was in my last year of engineering, we started observing that he's getting very slow with his actions. So let's say that at 48 age, the way he's performing his stuff, suddenly he's becoming very slow. So in like my uncle and other people suggested that yeah, maybe he's aging little bit, but like 48 is still not that aging, right? So
Yeah, it's not like he's
but
70
then
or
we,
80. Yeah.
and none of us in our family is aware about the word
Yeah,
Parkinson's.
you have
Okay,
never
so
heard of it.
we
Yeah.
did lot of, and I did not even know the word, or it is there is a disease, something like that. Okay, like in our Gujarati, so we are Gujaratis. So in our Gujarati, there is also a word like lakwa, or people start thinking about some other disease, like okay, he's having some or other paralysis or something
What
like that.
does
All those
what
stuff.
does lakwa translate into?
Lakwa is almost sort of paralysis, I think,
Okay.
where one of the part of the body. Okay, so he was having only slowness in one half of the body. Okay,
Uh,
so let's say with the right hand, whatever he's trying to do with the right hand, he's having trouble with.
mm,
So we went to our regular family doctor, and he also did not realize. He thought, okay, it could be something like he's having a weakness, or so we did 1 week, 2 week of that thing, and again, so what happened during the 2 week, when he took certain regular medicines, like we thought that okay, it could be just a fever or a, then we also did not track that much, and he was also not complaining that much.
yeah.
Like okay, so the complaint was never there in the beginning. So the patient is not complaining, we are not realizing, we
Yeah.
don't know what it is. We forget
Oh, the internet is patchy.
about it. After 2 3 weeks, we again start observing that he's telling or he's doing stuff, because generally he leaves home at 9 o'clock and he come back at in the night 10 o'clock, and we all are also busy. So how we can observe?
Yeah.
So I think with our observation of 2 to 3 weeks, we realized that there is something wrong. So we also, somebody suggested that okay, you go to particular doctor or something. Then one of the doctor told that you also go and check the neurologist. There
Mm.
could be possibility that one of his nerve is getting damaged. That is
Mm.
why he is having very slowness. So that's how it started. One of the doctor figured it out that it could be related to nerve, but he did not mention about the Parkinson's.
Correct.
So when we went to neurologist, he said that okay, did you lift any heavy weight? Why it is happening in your hand? Like what? He asked multiple questions, and he also did not figure it out. So he gave a regular neurologic, like gabapentin is one of them, where your nerves are getting damaged or something. He will give certain medicines to see whether
Yeah.
it's a nerve pain or not a
Yeah.
nerve pain.
Yeah.
After again 2 to 3 weeks, he said that okay, no, my symptoms are still remaining the same. I am not getting any improvement.
Mm.
Then doctor started, I don't know, I think he was very accurate. He did mention that there is could be a possibility of a Parkinson,
Same
and he
doctor.
was asking multiple questions like, are you forgetting the things? He
Uh,
said, no, I am dealing with my customers every day. I understand calculation, everything. Then he said that, what are your actual symptoms? So he said, no, nothing. Only sometimes I am becoming very slow with my actions, like a little bit of walking. At that time, walking was never a problem. Freezing was a problem. So
mm.
what he was doing, whatever he's doing, suddenly he becomes a freeze little. So
Correct.
freezing was a problem. All those things. Then he also did not give any attention, like oh, Parkinson, it could be a long term, no nothing. He just reacted very normally. He said okay, try out this medicine and come back to me after 1 week.
Mm.
So at that point the Sendopa got started.
Uh,
So, and what happened that he gave Sendopa 2 times, and he said that whenever you feel that you are becoming slow, please have this medicine.
mm.
And then
Oh,
after 10 15,
one second, Nirav. So it's the same doctor who actually gave the neuromeds first, no?
yeah, true.
Same doctor. And so he didn't give any timing for the Sindopa. He just said Whenever you feel like slow or low, just take a Syndopa. That was his instruction.
Exactly. Because I felt that doctor also wanted to do some trial and error whether
Uh-huh.
this is really Parkinson's. Because if we do a fixed timing, then doctor will not figure it out whether
Correct,
it is
correct,
a nerve related or a Parkinson
correct.
related.
Yeah. Okay. So then
I
your
think he
dad
was
took Syndopa.
very good in the judgment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So tell me,
and
after your
then
father took Syndopa, did he feel better?
yeah. So what we told him that you are anyways not at home, you are at shop, right? So you keep it in your upper pocket, and
Hmm.
whenever you feel, you take it, but also inform us back that you have taken, so we can note down the time. He said that okay, just observe, and
Huh.
then we told them okay that after having, what is your feeling, and then he was constantly checking how am I feeling after having, and then suddenly after 15-20 minutes he got back with the routine, and then yeah, that's how did it. So I think initially he was taking 2 times. I
Oh,
cannot recollect fully because it is
it's
13
been
years
a while.
ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, but I feel that he 2 times in a day he was struggling with the same very initial. After taking it remained for 6 hours. Then again he felt that no, my energy level is going low or I am becoming slow. Then he said, okay, can I take? Then we say, yeah, okay, take. Doctor has told whatever amount of time you feel that you can have it. So he took that, and then we took note down the timing and the observations. But we realized that he's becoming slow very quickly. Like earlier, nobody was noticing, but after taking a Sendopa and we all started observing more, he's
Yeah,
becoming more slow again. So
yeah,
Sendopa power remains for 6 hours or 8 hours. I don't know. I cannot remember
yeah,
that. But
yeah.
then we said, okay, no, don't take three. We will ask doctor whether what is this, whether it is a
Yeah,
good medicine or
yeah, 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 yeah.
medicine. That's how it is. So then, but then after 1 week, we all went and he said, no, I just wanted to do this trial and error.
It's a
And then
confirmation. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I cannot remember the dose which he was giving very initially, but it was Sendopa and Entacom. Entacom is also one of the medicine which he was not taking initially,
Hmm.
but after certain years, doctor started giving Entacom, which is like a cardidopa, like a mixture of two medicines. So he started giving.
Ah, okay. This is good. So tell me one thing, Nirav. Your father didn't have tremors to begin with? It was only
No,
slowness from what you're saying. Because the
stiffness.
tremor is also
Actually,
just
so
started
far
right
also,
away. No tremor
yeah,
is there.
so far also he is never having a tremors. And see, he's getting a tremors, okay, but he's not getting a direct tremors here. He's getting tremors here. So how
Ah,
we observe, he is continuously having that sensation in the nerve
ah,
continuously here.
continuous.
Sometimes it comes here, sometimes it comes here, but he is never having that tremors
Not
actually in
like,
the hand. No, that observation I have never seen in last 13-14 years.
yeah.
Never.
Sometimes tremor is also helpful in just having some movement. Slowness just
Exactly.
it brings a person down, actually. Yeah, interesting. So let's fast forward. Did your father ever consider DBS?
No. He is against touching his brain. So very recently only he understood that there, say, what happened that almost 3 years or 4 years before only his health got started deteriorating so much.
So much,
Like
no?
Corona was the time where it actually started deteriorating because
Yeah.
he was working. All those years he was working. So
Uh,
even though he was having Sendopa, but he was consistently working at least 10 to 11 hours as
yeah.
a businessman. So he was
Yeah.
never at home. In 2020, the first time there was a restriction that you cannot open the shops and
Oh,
all.
yeah. Yeah.
We thought that, okay, finally it is a good
He can
time
get
for him to
rest.
take a rest. He's a forced to take a rest because he's not a person he doesn't like at home. And slowly doctor also every time whenever we go, we tell that okay, he's working 10-11 hours continuously and he's having 6-7 doses of Sandopa. We are asking him to do a little bit of relax, but he's, so doctor always said okay, it's good, don't stop him, don't stop
Yeah.
him, don't stop, please let him get engaged whatever he would like to have. So
Yeah.
with that thought, my father thought okay, no, working is the only solution. If I sit at home, I will die soon, etc., etc. So 2020 was the first time where he did not went outside,
Yeah.
and suddenly what happened, he started losing his willpower.
Yeah.
So earlier also he was facing very slowness, but he
Mm.
was pushing himself with the walking. Because what happens, as an example, if I am very slow, but if my customer is standing in front of me and he is dealing with me cash, right, 500 note, he is
Yeah.
forcing himself to take, and so he was
Yeah.
constantly pushing himself. The good thing, he was never shy about his Parkinson's. So what he does,
Okay.
he tell every customer, guys,
Oh,
I have
yeah.
a Parkinson's, so don't worry. So he's very positive about his disease. Like he's not getting shy away or running out. But
Oh,
what happened after 2020, he stopped going outside and it became very reversal. After 2 3 months of sitting at home, he became a little lazy, and then he said, "No,
yeah.
He started giving more complaints. Actually, what we
Ah,
observe, that
yeah.
his nature got completely turned into
Changed.
a complaining nature. And then when restrictions are lifted, he's saying, "No, now I want to quit. I want to retire, etc."
Oh, poor
So
baby.
finally, we retired him in 2021 after 1 year of
Oh,
COVID. He said,
no.
"No."
You know, Nirav, it has been unfortunately a huge trend with people with Parkinson's. There has been a significant dip after COVID. Like health wise, it's not like they got affected with COVID and hence it affected them. Just being at home has reduced mobility of so many of our members. The ability to just take a walk, meet other people was actually keeping them going. You know, we underestimate how much the human connection, the work, the walks in the nature, all that was contributing to their maintenance of Parkinson's. With that gone, oh, it was really bad. So because we also, just to give you an information, we also did a small survey that time to see how are they doing mentally. Some of them were okay just to be at home, but lot of them took a beating. Although they technically said we are okay, it's good to be at home, but it was not. By the time the 1 year was over, we realized lot of them had a major dip, and we lost a lot of members at that period. It was a very unfortunate time. Yeah. Although it didn't seem to,
And
like you, we also thought, oh, good, they'll get rest. They don't have to go out. It'll be a good time. But not really.
yeah, I I think I also it also changed my thinking, shift in my thinking. Like I was always in the favor of that he get rest and he get better
Yeah.
feeling at home. But
Yeah.
later on, I realized that it is not good for him. But then it became very difficult for a couple of reasons, because his mobility got stopped, and then he started having a little fear in the mind. Now, if I go outside to the
What
world,
is
like
called?
again, and at that time, a lot of people were also having a fear, like another person is having Parkinson, you get Parkinson, you are already very low with immune, and
Yeah.
then mask. So
Was bad
uh,
time. Bad
I
time.
saw two parts of my father. Before Corona, he was
Ah.
completely different. He was not getting shy away. In fact, sometimes we used to get shy, very honestly. Like we say that, okay, why you are telling to hundreds of people that you are having Parkinson? Because we always used to think that, okay, the more you repeat, you will start realizing. So forget
Ah.
about your disease. But
Oh,
he was
it was
like,
the other
no,
way. Okay. And he actually
we were
accepted
thinking the
it.
other way.
He was doing
We are
well enough.
thinking,
He was doing the right things. Your father was
I
working.
know, I know. That's
He
what
had
I'm saying.
accepted
Like,
it. He was good. He was good.
exactly. So
Really.
as a caregiver, I say that first 10 to 11 years, I was completely wrong and he was completely right.
Yeah. How do we know?
And
How do we know?
exactly. And for us, we say that, okay, customer is coming to buy stuff. Why you want to share everything that, okay, I take to send over, I do this, like, but he likes to share
Oh,
information.
so
We did
nice.
not we did not realize that part. We are like, okay, that is, and we also started telling him like, okay, because you speak 100 times in a day, how Parkinson can go? Because you are not letting Parkinson go away from you, from your mouth, likewise. So luckily, all customers also supported him, whatever the duration he was working,
Yeah.
and like all his surround, he accepted his Parkinson very early itself in 2014-15 itself, and he started broadcasting to everybody, whoever will come. Okay, he will first say that, okay, see, I might be slow, but you don't feel bad, I'm parking. And and he's not a social, and he doesn't know how. He only use very simple mobile, so he does not watch any
Not
motivational video.
smartphone, not
He
like
does
that.
not he doesn't know how to speak English, how to read English,
Yeah.
anything. He's purely only one language, Gujarati, Hindi,
Gujarat.
or Marathi. Like
Yeah.
all these thing is coming from his inside. It is not something somebody is teaching or he is reading any
That's
stuff.
his nature. That's his nature.
Exactly. So that's his nature, where he likes to tell everything to everybody.
Yeah.
But initially, my mother and I was like, okay, we were getting frustrated initially, but later on, now
Okay.
after last
I'm
2 3
going to
years,
pause you
I
here to ask you some questions. Just going little rewinding back. See, you said very interestingly and very commonly also that you had never heard of the word Parkinson's before your dad was affected, right? Then tell me from there to how long did it take for you as a family, as a whole family, and for you as a caregiver to completely understand, oh my God, this is what the disorder does to somebody? Well, like how was the progression towards that? You tell me that. Or is it still
I
happening?
think no, I think I took 8 to 10 years to really understand what is Parkinson, and then I have to guide my mother what is Parkinson.
How did
Why
your
it
mother
have
take it?
why
Let's talk about her. How is it for her?
Yeah, actually, she's also like the same. She only understand what doctor tells in that 15 minutes of the session. Okay,
Okay.
so when we go to doctor will ask 10 questions. Okay, and it's I think to all the caregivers and everybody, whenever you go to doctor, person will add one more complaint.
Yeah.
So doctor
Give me
will
one
add one
medicine.
more medicine.
Wait, one more medicine.
So, and generally the Parkinson people will keep giving complaint that, okay, uh, I am not getting sleep enough. I am
Yeah.
not feeling to walk more. I am not doing this. I am getting so many thoughts. I forget sometimes. So when somebody tells I forget little bit sometimes, even I forget also sometimes, even though I don't have Parkinson. Okay. But when Parkinson person will tell that I forget sometime, everybody will literally take, oh, there could be a memory issue. But
Yeah.
then doctor will do a little bit of deep dive. Okay, when do you forget? Do you repeat yourself, etc., etc. So the medicine over the years, medicine kept on increasing, and
Yeah.
then my mother will again come, because I was also very young at that time,
Yeah.
20 25, etc. So I am also not that mature enough to do all the stuff by my alone. I am also relying on my mother and everybody to give
Yeah.
me input, etc. And I
Yeah.
am the only son. Okay,
I
so
was
I am the
about
only
to
son.
ask,
I
are
don't
you
have
the
a
only
brother.
child or you have a
Yeah,
sister?
I am the only child.
Only child. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Is it
exactly.
common
And then we
in your
stay in that.
families, in Gujarati families, single child?
Yeah, yeah. So then my mother very get she's also getting very frustrated very quickly initially. Like, okay, doctor has told you to take at 10 o'clock. Why you are not taking medicine at 10 o'clock? And then next dose is at 3 o'clock. And my father has a habit. If there is a customer or something, he will not take on time. When
He's
everybody will
talking,
go,
he's doing
then
his thing. Yeah.
he's busy, right? But my
Busy.
mother doesn't understand that, or even I. For me, 2 o'clock is at 2 o'clock. Because you don't take it 2 o'clock, that's why you suffer more. Why you are
Yeah.
not taking? So all
Yeah.
those to and fro conversation happens. Then my mother feels that, okay, why you are not doing this quickly, etc. Like we were not that empathetic for him all the initial years. We were always comparing him that, okay, and as an example, when he come back home in the night at 11 o'clock and he's feeling very tired, obviously with Parkinson the person feel more tired,
Yeah.
then we will give an excuse that throughout the day when you are at a shop, you don't do all those tantrums. When you are after you're tired, when you come to 11 o'clock, you need everybody's support. I think we were nowhere in the position to accept that he's having a Parkinson's and he needs an extra support. It took
I
all
let
of us
let
7.
me summarize this for people who are also watching. I think very beautifully said, Nirav. Very well said. And I'm so glad you're so honest with what you're saying. And I see this happen with a lot of children, including me, although my father didn't have Parkinson's. But if your parent is sick, see, for us, I think I'm able to empathize and understand what you're saying because you somehow want them to feel all right. So you feel if you take medicine, you just do your exercise, you take rest, you sleep well, please do all of this. So you'll feel as normal as you can. And the fact that they cannot do that, we can't understand or accept. So I think the children and the spouse, they have a trauma because your life is completely changed, and then you are controlling it by keeping that person as normal as possible. So this is definitely a challenge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and what happens like over the years, earlier he was having two times in a day, then three times. After next, when we go to doctor, of course he will give a complaint that okay, I am I am feeling very restless or freezing after 4 hours. So then doctor will say, okay, start one more. Then so we started with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So right now he's taking 8 times Sendopa. Yeah. Yes, Sudha,
Something
no
like that,
problem. I
yes.
will. Yeah. So right now he's taking 8 times Sendopa. And yeah, so I think the important message. What I, as an example, if I could have known more Parkinson in very early days, I could have been more empathetic to my father.
No,
That's
this
the
is
thing. What
very,
we
very
missed
honest.
7 to 8 years. 7 to 8 years, we did not realize that part.
Right? No, tell me, this is great that you're saying this now. Tell me, what was the switch though? Now, what has changed? I mean, I don't see a lot of children change like you. They'll continue to be like that. So somewhere you have changed. What made you change? What made you have this
Uh,
realization?
I think after 7, 8 years, I don't know, I got very self-interest and I started reading more stuff. Okay, like why this cannot be solved? I think that was the only trigger point for me to learn more. Actually, in 2016, I went to Amsterdam, Netherlands for my work. And my both parents were alone here. So, and then when I went there, I saw in Europe, there are more people.
Oh, you saw
And
people with Parkinson's?
yeah, and there is a growing community in the Europe as well, and it is very well known. The only difference between Europe, US, and India, Europe is a well-structured country where government try to take care of the people who are suffering because mostly their culture is the kids will not take care of them, and they are always separated very beginning of 18, 20 years.
Oh, Nirav, okay, got.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
in Europe, what I'm saying that in Europe there is no culture that parents and kids will stay together. They almost get separated around in very early 20s itself.
Yeah.
So government take care of them, and I saw, and then I realized that there is something which I need to read about, and that's where I started reading more. And then in all the reading, if you read Google, the also reason for me to write my things now is that this cannot be solved. It's something everybody has to learn very upfront. If you are constantly trying to solve the thing, no, it is not going to help anyone. So first
Yeah.
thing, if patient has to accept it's a Parkinson, the family has to accept more it's a Parkinson. And that is the lacking part here because patient is always frustrated. He will
Yeah.
never feel good. Even though
Yeah.
you give 10 medicine, he will never feel.
Yeah.
There is a complaint in the 11th hour. So that was a trigger point. I think in 2016, 17, I started reading more. I started understanding what it is and
Hmm.
why my father nature has been changed. That was my trigger point. So what can I do to bring him back? But in that process, I did not bring him back. I had to change myself.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautifully said. And so exactly. You can't change them. You need to change the way you're caregiving.
Exactly.
Oh, I think this is for me the sentence I'm going to use everywhere. That is so true. Because what ends up happening, I'll give you an example. They say, a lot of members say this, right? I feel very down, I can't walk, and I take a Sindopa and I feel normal. And I just want to keep feeling normal. So we tell them, when you don't take Sindopa, that is your normal. That's what you have become right now. So when you take a Sindopa, what you feel for those 2 hours is actually abnormal because you have lost that much of dopamine. I think you're frozen, Nirav. I hope you
Can
come
you
back.
hear me now?
I can hear you. Were you able to hear me so far?
Okay. Yeah, I can also hear. No
Ah,
problem.
great. So yeah, so this is very well said because we are always trying to control the affected person. Do this, do that,
Exactly.
be that, so that they change. They change how? To being back to who they were. So our goal is always keeping the person who was there before Parkinson's and somehow to make them that. But that is never going to happen. They're only going to move away and away from what they were. So the best thing we can do is to we can change. Yeah, that is so very well said. I cannot agree more with you. Tell me one thing though. When you were in Netherlands, did you seek out people with Parkinson's or did you happen to meet somebody? How was
No,
it?
no, I just saw, see, because as I said, right, I started reading more stuff,
Yeah.
and I saw that in the tram and metro. See, in 2016, 17, I got little bit of more realization that I could sense from
Yeah.
by looking at a person, I could sense whether can person have Parkinson
They
or
have.
not.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Okay, and in Europe, it is very regular that person at the age of 70 also works. Their working age is little bit higher than the India.
Correct.
So I used to work.
I lost you again, Nirav. So just for the context, Nirav is actually traveling. He's not at his home. I think he's somewhere outside. So hence this patch.
Can you?
I can hear you, but again I lost you. Oh, I can't hear you at all now. I can see you now. Speak something. It's gone. It's gone now. I don't even see your profile picture now. Okay, that's fine. Until Nirav comes back, maybe I can share a couple of stories about, caregivers. So one point I wanted to bring out with Nirav was, if you notice from what he was saying, this is also a very typical structure that we see with a lot of our members. So mostly a male gentleman is affected with PD, and his wife is the primary caregiver. But then the primary caregiver, in a sense of giving medicines, taking them to the doctor, all that. But they will also be living with their children, a lot of times with their sons. So in a way, it will be the son who is actually taking them to the doctor, who is monitoring the medication, who is making the choice of which doctor to go, how to change the caregiving. So there is a very different dynamic that I see constantly, that a spouse is also there and the son is also there. So the wife, there is a lot of worrying part, and then a lot of thinking, oh, that person has changed, he's not like how he was. So there is a lot of mental anxiety and in a way also physical stress for the wife, spouse mostly. And the decision making, the rational thinking, acting part usually comes from the children. For the members who don't have this sort of comfort, where either the children live abroad or they're not into active caregiving with them, then the wife takes up the role of even the decision maker, taking them to the doctor or deciding which treatment to go to. That time it can get quite a bit. It can become very overwhelming for the spouse. I mean, for anybody for that matter. So, in a way, it is a little bit divided in Nirav's case. He has his mom to do certain things for his dad, and he's also there to do other things. So, this is kind of, yeah, what can I say, balanced or more healthy, although it's not easy on anybody, but definitely not as bad as only one person dealing with it. Speak something
Yeah,
so you're really back.
yeah. Am I audible, Sudha?
Yes, yes, you're audible. Yeah, good.
Okay,
So you
okay,
saw
perfect.
people publicly, you saw people with
I
Parkinson's.
cannot see you on the video, but I hope, at least I hope I am audible and visible.
Yeah, yeah, you are. Go on.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, See,
So
I
you were
think
saying you saw people like out in public transportation in Netherlands, and by just seeing them, you could sense that whether they have PD, because you've seen your
exactly,
so long. Yeah,
exactly. I saw, and then when I was reading, I also saw there is a huge community,
yeah,
and I understood like I realized more things. What is needed in like my constant worry was the future. Like, okay, my father is, let's say, 56, 57 right now. If
yeah,
he lives more years, how are we going to sustain this?
correct.
All those things, right? And that's where I realized, I saw them that, okay, like one of the thing which changed my mindset is that when I am working with a person at the age of 65 and the person is slow in my office,
Yeah.
I'm not challenging that person. I'm
Yeah.
accepting that okay, he will speak with me slowly, he will do the stuff slowly. Then why I'm not accepting my father with the slowness?
Oh, okay, okay, okay. This is interesting. I thought you were saying the other way. I thought you were saying because I have seen my father being slow, I'm able to accept
No,
somebody. In fact, what you're saying is you're able to accept somebody outside, so why can't I show the same with
exactly.
my dad? Ah, got
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So as a, this is a very also common example. If you ask any son or a daughter, and you
Yeah,
ask them to speak to a third person who is an age person, okay,
yeah,
we will be more empathetic to the
yeah.
third person than to our own parents.
It's always like that.
So
It's always like that.
yeah, exactly. And it's the same also. Like third person will listen you more than your own parents or your own spouse, etc. Right?
Yeah,
So that's where I realized that accepting everybody in my office who are being slow, but I'm not accepting my father being slow.
yeah.
And
That's
then
so
that's where I think all those small things started shifting my nature. And then I started teaching to my mother over call that, okay, mom. And I was very careful because I know my mom is alone there. So I have to be also ensure that my mom is in the good, happy state. Okay. Because she also gets frustrated. Then I keep on telling him that, okay, you don't tell anything or let him do whatever he wants to do.
yeah.
If you have to give complaint to me. Don't give complaint to him. Don't make him frustrated, etc. So all those, I think, all those years were my game-changing years where I started transformation myself first, and then I started teaching my mother that how she can be also a little bit slow down and don't repeat the same thing what we used to repeat in the earlier years.
Yeah, oh, very good. This is a huge transformation. I mean, it's mega. I can't even say how big this is. But did it have an impact on your mom? Could she also understand like you and slowly change?
See, I will tell you the bad part of ego. Okay, as a caregiver, what I have literally experienced almost every single. Even though you do a 23 hours of a good support to a person, but if you don't do for 1 hour, person might say bad about, or they are never satisfied. Like he will say, "You guys are not doing anything." When the person is in trouble, I don't know how other Parkinson patients are, but at least my dad is never satisfied.
Oh yeah,
And
okay.
then the trigger point for my mother is that I'm doing so much,
Much. Yeah.
and you are still telling that she is not doing anything for him. So she always take literal words by words what he's telling. She will take literally the action by action what he's doing. So as an
Yeah.
example, when my dad will say, okay, now I don't want to eat, I will eat after 1 hour. Then
Huh.
my mom will say, okay, you 15 minutes before you told that you are hungry. I I I did everything, I given you food, and now you're telling I will do after 1.
Yeah.
All those small things are the trigger point for my mother. Where my dad, I don't know whether he does intentionally, unintentionally. I assume he does unintentionally. So,
Unintentionally.
all those things becoming very tough for my mother and also for me as well because I am also constant support. So I feel that I do all my office hours. I come back home, and then again you are not
You
being
have to
nice to
deal
me.
with this.
You will tell me very harsh word, or my mother will complain me, my father will complain me. I come home for listening complaint to everybody, and then I also shout sometimes. So all these are very bad part of the caregiver,
Yeah.
but slowly I understood that we don't have to take anything seriously what he's telling by his words.
Yeah.
So, and this is the most tough part, to let go of the harsh word given by the caregiver, sorry, by the person,
By the person.
because
Yeah.
you
True.
have to be constantly motivated as a caregiver that he's my father. It doesn't matter what he does. I will have to support him till he dies, right? So, and that is a constant. I don't know. I think a lot of people start feeling very.
Yeah, it can be very depressing and demotivating when you do so much and the person either doesn't recognize or you feel is not being grateful. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. But what I want to ask
Exactly.
you know, is, was your father never like this before PD? Like complaining
No.
or saying that you're not doing for me? Was he never like this?
See, he is always a little bit aggressive person since beginning. Okay, like he is a little disciplined person. He wants things to be happen in his way.
His way.
Parkinson made it worse. Parkinson made it worse for us.
Mm,
Why? because he is a discipline, now he's struggling with his discipline. He will ensure, because see, also another, I think the disciplined people also get more frustrated because he cannot do things in his
Correct.
own way. Then he
Correct.
will blame others. You guys are
Correct.
not doing, you guys are not helping. I'm not able to do because of
Correct.
you guys, etc.
Correct. Correct.
And
Correct.
all this we understood after 8 to 9 years that this
Wow.
is a
Right.
this
Right.
is all nothing to do with medicine. This is a behavioral issue. I think
Yeah.
everybody has to understand that once you know the Parkinson, person will never behave as a normal. You will
Yeah.
have to accept. He will do more complaint. He will he will be more aggressive. He will do more. He will be a little bit harsh sometimes. He will never be satisfied. All those are acceptance.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. I mean, I feel like you're so young, but for your age, you're so wise. I think you had to really grow up fast and pick up all of this. I mean, since you're, I don't know, late 20s to your early 30s, you picked up all of this. So that's really great. That is true. They're not going to change. And we have also seen this, their basic personality. Okay, I've seen two things though. They're very strange. One is their basic personality becomes much more enhanced. If they were people who were angry before, like mildly, they get very angry now, like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
So very, very same thing, but blown up. That is one category I've seen. Unfortunately, that's the majority. Like I would say, even 80% of it is that. A smaller percentage, maybe because of the medicine, their nature completely changes, but it never changes for positive. From being very docile and quiet, now they become very aggressive and very abusive sometimes. But that's a very minor category, and I think that must be medications playing havoc with the brain. But most often than not, it's the same nature, it just gets more and more. Somebody who was very quiet, who wouldn't talk more, after PD becomes much more quiet, much more
Exactly.
non-communicative. We have seen that also. But that's definitely the larger category than complete personality change, like, yeah. Okay, I want to ask you a couple of more things, only because there has been a long duration with your father and PD, right? Have you ever experienced with your father any hallucinations, any delusions that he did you have to deal with that?
Yeah. 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 Last year in January, we went to a trip Himachal, 3 weeks with my mother, father, everybody. And his walking is always like deteriorated walking. Like he cannot walk like a normal. Yeah? So he will do balance.
Yeah.
Likewise. So in Himachal also there is a hilly area. So there is always a struggle with the walk. Uh, Suddenly in the trip itself, his knees stopped working. So his walking got completely stopped. Okay. And then I had to carry him to the bathroom, literally like this a kid, the way we carry to the bathroom, again to the bathroom. So we were in the trip, so we cannot ask any doctor or anything. And then after giving medicine, he little bit again walked.
Okay.
So I thought maybe because now I'm having more knowledge. That is also a problem. I start overthinking more. I do more research, etc. So that is also another problem. And then I did a little bit more research. I saw that okay, it could be advanced Parkinson, where okay, it gets more deteriorated. His
Yeah.
voice also went down. So then
Okay.
I also read very generic that it's a swallowing issue. So
Yeah.
all etc. etc. I thought okay, first we have to reach to Mumbai and then we'll think about it more. In between, I increase the Sendopato. So I am also a little bit of doctor. Okay, so I also do a little bit of planning.
All of
I'm
us
giving
are.
one medicine. One medicine, I thought, okay, let me give 1.5 medicine to see whether he's recovering or
Uh.
and little bit of he recovered. Then I thought maybe he needs more dopamine now. 8 dose might not be working, so doctor might say 9 dose or 10 dose now.
Mm-mm.
All those stuff. We came back home, Mumbai. After a couple of days, he also stopped eating. So what happened in the trip? He stopped walking in the Himachal. He was started having more swallowing issues. When we
Wow.
came back home, he also stopped eating and he's not at all getting like he's behaving like a coma patient. That means he's not speaking, he's not eating, he's not walking.
Okay.
He's just opening and closing his
Okay.
eyes. And then I
Wow.
thought, we all thought that what what happened suddenly overnight? What happened? Like
Yeah.
We know it can be deteriorated, but what happened suddenly? Then I arranged a wheelchair. I took him to the hospital very immediately. Now, doctor figured it out that he's having a low sodium. So sodium was become 120. One of the reason I think
Yeah.
whenever the sodium become low, person reacts very slow. Like his senses become very low, and
Yeah.
it is very ingenuine, nothing to do with Parkinson.
Very
But if Parkinson patient having a
correct.
sodium low, it's more dangerous because
Correct.
if he is not able
Correct.
to speak, he is not able to do anything. He was not doing anything. So,
Yeah.
but the problem, how can I also give
Yeah.
a medicine? He's not opening the mouth.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
come back,
Yeah.
I need to give a medicine first. If he does not open the mouth, how can I give a medicine? So
Yeah.
doctor also struggled. Then
Yeah.
doctor said, okay, I have a one option to put some noise tube to give a medicine, like from the
Yeah.
Ryzen tube.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you do. Doctor did that Ryzen tube. Then we admitted him to the hospital. So 14 days, doctor did a brain MRI.
Mm.
And he figured it out that the brain is becoming a little smaller. He mentioned me, okay, like he's having a advanced Parkinson now. And then we'll do all the stuff, etc. But during the hospital and even before hospital as well at home, uh, he was started having hallucination.
He was.
And how hallucination was having? He
Mm.
was and hallucination starts in the night generally. I
Yeah.
think in our WhatsApp group also
Yeah.
long back I had posted one of the message.
Yeah.
So and he was started calling me as a jijaji, like he's not recognizing me as a son.
Yeah. It's
And
called.
he's constantly telling that there is a theft in our house. He will steal the stuff,
Yeah.
and he started telling that I want to do a suicide, and all those things
Yeah.
started in the
Mhm.
hallucination.
Psychosis also.
uh, and then I researched. I already knew that this can happen in the future with the Pesitan as a medicine, so I
Yeah.
already knew this. The moment I figure it out that it is happening, I stopped this Pesitan by my own at home.
You did? Okay.
But But he figured it out that I'm not giving him a precedent medicine.
He
So
did.
he started countering me. Why you are not giving? You are not a doctor. As I said, he's an aggressive person. So he told, no, I will have precedent. I said, no, I will not give. Let's go to doctor and we'll do the stuff. So I
Yeah.
went to doctor. I explained like we have stopped the medicine and we see the decrease in the hallucination.
You could see, is it? With Pacitine going down, you could see
Exactly.
hallucinations.
2 days after 2 days of stop precedent, I saw he's not having a
Yeah,
hallucination.
that's a good call. Lot of members
So
have it. Yeah.
yeah, but then he's complaining my complaint to the doctor that he's doing like a doctor, and of course, doctor are also sometimes smart. Okay, don't you are not a doctor. Let me do by my way. I said okay, you do. So, but that's how it is. So hallucination was there, and
Now is
hallucination
it
will
under
come.
control?
I observe hallucination has not occurred any time in 14 years with Sandopa. Hallucination has occurred with other medicine. So observe what other medicine you are having. Sometimes doctor give anxiety medicine. If a
Yeah,
person is continuously complaining,
correct.
anxiety medicine could occur. Pacitine is also one of the anxiety medicine itself, so it can occur. So observe what other medicines person is having. But I have not observed with Sandopa. So the moment we stop medicine, he is not having.
No.
Luckily, hospital also doctor stopped giving the Pacitine.
Okay.
So his habit, so he took Pesitan 3 years continuously. Then suddenly we stopped this Pesitan.
Wow. So just to expand a little bit on this, Nirav, very good sharing. Thank you so much. And I hope people who are listening take note of this because at least Nirav's father is an exception in this case of young onset, so has lived for many years with PD. But for members who are even affected, say in their 60s or even in their early 70s, Pacitine is prescribed very commonly. But if you look at Western countries, there is a rule, I think, that this says that above 70 you can't give pacitine to them because the older the brain, it cannot absorb pacitine, and there's a shrinkage, whatever, there's a change of anatomy of the brain itself slightly, so it can't handle pacitine, and it leads to hallucination. And repeatedly we have seen with members that once you either lessen it the dosage or stop it, hallucinations comes down. But on another note, Nirav, for some members, very rarely, Syndopa itself causes hallucinations.
This could also because of the
That
high
could
amount
also,
of dosage.
thankfully not for your
High
dad,
amount.
but that also happens, unfortunately.
Good.
So that is one more thing that I wanted to say. And another thing I wanted to touch upon here is because so many things came up in your incident that you shared. So what we have found generally is when you went on the trip, I think your dad must have had like a sudden dip in sodium and then his complete collapse of movement, right? So what we see repeatedly in members, if they have sugar and it becomes, if they're diabetic pretty much, right? Either it is high diabetic or when they go low sugar. Both the extremes, they're completely not able to work. So my message, which we repeatedly tell for members at Parivarthan, when there is a sudden dip in Parkinson's, right? Like one day they're walking to next day they're completely not walking, then don't think it's Parkinson's aggravating overnight because it doesn't happen like that. There is always a secondary cause like this. Usually because it's men and it is older men, most of the times, as far as I have seen, 80% of the times it's urine incontinence. So that would have developed some UTI, right? Urinary tract infection. So check for urinary tract. There's a secondary infection, or there is a loss of
Yeah.
sodium, or there is a low sugar or high sugar. These are pretty much the reasons. So don't panic and start pumping your a person, family member with Syndopa or any Parkinson's related medicine. Take to the doctor, do the tests, and then they'll slowly come back. But unfortunately, Nirav, they never come back to what they were before. After the
No.
dip with the infection, the dip still stays. Although they get a little better, they never get completely better. It's
You
very,
exactly said. I experienced exactly same, Sudha.
yeah, it's
So
very,
with my father, 2 times in 2 years, his sodium
yeah,
got dipped to 120. What happens? Why you said is exactly right, and why that happened, I will tell you.
yeah.
Before dip, he was having 7 times syndrome. After dip, he started having 8 times syndrome.
Uh,
Because he said they cannot come back to the same. Why it happened? I observed. He lose their willpower.
yeah,
Now, and they stay in this state for let's say 1 week, 2 week, right? Body doesn't go back
does it?
because it's there. Their mind and body has accepted that I'm deep now. They can little bit go up, but they will never able to. But in my case, what happened? Why I was a deep? After 1 month, we figured out that he was having a spine TB,
Oh,
and the spine TB was the reason that he stopped walking.
exactly.
And
Always a secondary reason. Oh no. What
always,
is
and I think one of my uncle, the doctor actually did not figure it out. He did brain MRI, everything, right? And always, I think whenever there is an overnight dip, as you said, there has to be an infection in the body, which makes their immunity quite low. Why my father stopped having? Because TB in general lose your 15 to 17 kg very immediate. And the
uh,
spine is the only TB which is not noticeable directly with anything. You need to go through the MRI of your spine and the bioscopy of your. If it's a lung TB, if you cough, it's noticeable.
uh,
Why and what happened?
but
My father was continuously complaining that I am having a back pain. Back pain is very common in Parkinson, right? Back
okay.
pain or stiffness is very common. He was continuously complaining for 1 2 months, but
Uh,
doctor and we all felt that this is because of Parkinson. Nobody think about having a spine MRI or a back MRI.
uh,
Doctor suddenly one day tell that okay, let's go to a spine MRI and see what it is. And in the spine MRI, the TB found.
wow.
And how he judged, because he lost 17 kg
I was
in
about to
1 month.
ask how many kgs? 17 kgs.
17 kg. So he
Uh,
came down to 26 kg as a weight. He was around 40, 42 and he came down to 26. So he was like a skeleton. He's not eating anything. He's having a Ryzen tube. He's only on the liquid. He's not walking. He's not speaking. His speech completely went up. Completely went up. He was not able to speak anything. So all those things happened. But then doctor mentioned that spine TB is one of the reason if your lower limbs stop overnight.
yeah.
99.99% is just fine
Oh, really?
because it directly impacts your lower limbs.
I
So
see.
if overnight, he said, okay, what happened to Himachal? Overnight, he stopped working.
Yeah.
So when your lower limbs stopped working suddenly, there
Yeah.
is higher possibility. And then he said that, okay, a lot of patient is having TB since long, but because TB cells, his immunity is high, TB
Yeah.
cells will remain in the calm. Like TB cells are like cancer cells.
Yeah.
they will remain in the body for longer time. When your immunity goes low, those cells become much more active.
Gosh.
So there could be a possibility that in the cold area, in the Himachal, maybe his immunity become a little bit low and TB cells become more active. But we all learned after that this could be one of the reason. I cannot claim or
Must
guarantee that
be. Yeah.
this
More
could be
likely.
one of the reason. Exactly. But then what happened with spine TB? So hallucination started all this. So spine TB came together, hallucination came together. Sodium level is 120. His speech gone. Everything is trauma. We all are in trauma. What happened suddenly?
Yeah.
Uh, so then we arrange a wheelchair. But as I said, I think I will give 120% credit to my father, because from the day one,
Yeah.
if even if he feels 1% good, he will give his 20%.
Appa.
So when he went into a wheelchair, he constantly said one message to me, that
Yeah.
I am not doing all this acting. I
Yeah.
am genuinely, I am trying my best to get up, but I'm not able to get up.
Oh my God.
So
But poor baby, what? Yeah.
so then I think I understood that he wants to come back. He has a willpower, but then doctor said, okay, wait. TB doesn't go overnight. It will take 9 months, sometimes 12 months to go away. His
Yeah.
weight will increase. He is right now 26, 27. So how can you expect that he will do stuff
Just
independently?
26 kgs. What is that even? My
Yeah,
God.
yeah. So, and then he took all the medicine 9 months. I took caretaker. So finally, after 11 years as a caregiver, I had to keep a caretaker because he cannot walk. He's on the wheelchair. And
Mm.
also his bathroom and all those things also happening on the bed.
Mm.
So I kept 12 hours caretaker during the daytime. Once I come back from the office, I was
You
sleeping
can
next
do
to
that.
him in the night. Yeah. So that's how it is, the last 1.5 year journey. And I learned more and more about all the Parkinson thing could possibly happen to a person. Like
Right.
pneumonia is one of the worst thing could happen. That's where the immunity directly go down.
Yeah. Aspirational pneumonia is very common in.
Respiratory disease is also a challenge. Immediately deteriorates Parkinson, like sugar, sodium, spine TB, any TB, respiratory disease, pneumonia. All these things are direct impact as a secondary disease, direct impact on the person.
And just
And
even common
respiratory
cold, even flu can
cold,
be thing.
exactly.
Yeah,
So this year again he got a infection, and again his sodium went to one.
Oh, yeah. Every
So
time he gets infected. Yeah.
I learned that whenever he will have this thing, immediately his sodium is getting impacted. And if sodium is getting impacted, he is impacting as an entire person. He
Person.
cannot do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
And
Mentally,
then,
physically, both. Yeah. Yeah.
and sodium is not something which you can bring immediately high. It
Ah,
also takes months. So there is a external supplement, plus doctor advises us that, okay, you give an extra pinch of salt on a regular basis. So 120 will become 122, 125, 1. So the good threshold value is 135 to 140. But you cannot boost up the salt, because if you boost up the salt, he
yeah.
will have an infection in the urine, like he will have
Ah,
a burning sensation. I
correct.
tried, I also did a couple of trial and error. I thought,
You have tried
okay,
that also.
so that's what I'm saying. It's also my fault. Now, when you have too much of information, you get tempted to do all the trial and error.
No,
So my father is saying, I'm not liking this food. Why you are giving? I intentionally put extra salt in the food. But then he start feeling why there is so much of salt in the food.
oh, yeah, we have all done that, Nirav. We have all done that. In the name of helping them, we do all these things. So I think it's okay. Yeah, that's the way. Oh my God, this conversation is getting so interesting for me, but I'm also mindful of the time. This is really, I think I need to have like maybe one more session with you. This is really reverting for me. Let us really have one more conversation. But I want to bring again little tie the caregiving angle. See, you're also a father. Your wife also obviously are all living together in this situation. How are you all coping? How is it for your daughter? How is it for your wife? How are you all dealing with it as a family? I'm sure it's not easy, but
Yeah, I think my daughter picked it up very well.
yeah.
but for wife, it took a lot of time. And her constant worry was that what are we doing with the life? Like the whole day we go to office, and in the morning and in the night we come and we have to have this environment in the
Caregiving.
house, which we
Yeah.
cannot avoid.
Yeah.
So it's a challenging. The only suggestion or the thing what we did that okay, you do not not at all worry about father. Let's say you only focus on the daughter. So
Okay.
whatever he do, he behaves, he speaks. You just listen to one ears and you forget about her. For my father, I will be the primary and my mother will be the primary person. You will only come as a caregiver when it is a real need, where nobody is at home.
Yeah, like literally like
So
a helping hand, right? Like physically, if something is needed. Yeah, you don't have to do.
exactly. So that's what we did, but it's a very difficult. Only thing I will say that if you accept person as a disease, then also accept the behavior. Okay, accepting is will not work. Accept means if he tells the harsh word, you
Yeah.
have to constantly tell your mind to keep calm and do not take any decision based on the words. Okay, so sometimes my father says to me a couple of abusive words, and my wife might feel that okay, why he's putting so much of effort towards him, and you are again giving back him abusive words, and also daughter is at home, let's say.
Yeah.
But after 2 hours, he's again back normal. He will come to me. He will speak
Yeah.
nicely. I
Yeah.
have accepted, but it is also very important to other person also has to accept, and it's not that easy. As I said, my mother took a lot of time.
Yeah.
I was very quick in accepting once I learned. Okay, like empathy is the but
Yeah.
why mother will understand what is empathy. He is not that English or that person. What is empathy? Why my wife will agree that okay, empathy is needed. Like at
Yeah.
some point, everybody has a saturation level, right? So my acceptance will also not work. Everybody who is living in the house, everybody has to accept
Correct.
that this situation you cannot avoid. We
Yeah.
all have to live with this situation. The only thing can happen when he becomes worse, when he's speaking abusive word, when he's speaking very aggressive.
Yeah.
Let only one person face who has a very strong heart. He's
Yeah.
not that emotional. I'm the face for that.
Yeah.
I don't get carried away very easily. I'm very strong. Even though
Yeah.
he will tell something, I will just stand, keep quiet. Like I allow him to speak whatever he want to speak to me. But if there is a third person, he will react, and then the situation become
Exactly.
worse.
Because
So
you're not reactive. You've accepted him and you're letting him be. Very good. Very good.
exactly. So my only suggestion that if you are constantly struggling,
Yeah.
stop reaction. Let the person speak. Because at the end you again have to stay together. So it doesn't make any sense that somebody is winning, somebody is losing. There is no trophy. Again, after 2 hours, when the his dopamine will get low, you only have to go and support it. So a lot of time in the past, what happens, I or my mother will say, okay, you don't want us, right? We will not come. After 2 hours, we have to go. There is no other option. So accept. There is no permanent decision which you can make with the person. It's all temporary decision. So the only thing that whatever possible, just stay calm and don't be reactive. Just let the person do whatever he wants to do the stuff.
Very well said, Nirav. Really, I can't tell you for such a young person how many wise words you have said. I really want to repeat it. So Nirav is saying you can say anything to that person. It's not permanent. Even if you say, I'm not going to come into your room, you take care of it. It's only you who has to go back in an hour or so to take care of things.
Exactly.
Right? So when you are the one who has to do, you have the one you're facing. Why are you reacting, draining your energy, draining that person's energy, making them react more? Just let them talk, just do your work, keep your peace, accept. I mean, you saying it, although it sounds easy, it is not at all easy. It's extraordinarily difficult, as most caregivers know. And really, I can only imagine how you'll be at home. Hats off to you, Nirav. I want to ask you personally, what do you do? Like, you have your job, you have your kid and your family, then you have your father. Do you get any alone time? Do you take some time off for yourself, like workout or run or something? Do you do something? Hang out with friends? Do you have time?
Yeah. So Yeah, I'm a marathon runner, so I do ultra marathons. I do 70 kilometers, 60 kilometers, long marathons. So,
Ah,
yeah. So
resilience, my
the
friend.
lone time,
You're in for the long run. So you need that resilience.
yeah, but I genuinely don't get a lone time. It's not at all possible. So if you see, I go on vacations, that's not a problem. But and it the only thing it can happen that you will have to make other people more empowered. Like I constantly try to empower my mother. That's the only way I can escape myself. Otherwise, I cannot escape myself. So if you really want your own time, you have to have somebody else who is equally doing the same job with the same intention and the same way. Okay, because as an example, I have my own nature to deal with my father. Okay. Tomorrow I ask my brother, you come and do it for 48 hours.
Oh, we temporarily lost you again.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, for him to understand the empathy and emotions is not going to happen in 48 hours.
Correct.
So the person who will come very fresh to support my father, they will go in fighting mode very immediately in 6 hours. So the next time my brother will not come, he will say, no, I'm not coming. So you also need a person who is equally understanding this person in
Correct.
your way, what is
Correct.
needed. So I'm constantly teaching my mother that we both will behave in the same. That's what I'm saying. And the
Have
lone
you
time is
seen
not
changes?
possible.
Have you seen changes in your mom?
I think a lot
Same.
of changes. I said the only sometimes she also forgets again, but I constantly tell. First step that you keep your mouth shut. That's the only way. If you don't keep your mouth shut, my father will tell four abusive words. Then you will cry. Then you will feel I don't want to do again. After 2 hours, you will be back to him. Are
Yeah.
you? So what is the use of doing all these things? But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I another change what I want maybe everybody can think of it. Okay, just let the person do whatever he wants to do and just observe. Don't come in his or her way. Okay, so when my father, like as an example, my suddenly he wants to clean the room. So he will start cleaning the room, but he will destroy the other things. Then my
Yeah.
mother will come and say, okay, you are increasing my work. So while
Yeah.
cleaning the room, you are disturbing other things.
Other things.
And then the fight starts. Then my father will say, okay, I'm trying my best to keep myself engaged and you are not allowing.
Yeah.
Then the fight starts.
Yeah. Then goes
So I say,
on.
my mother, you go. Let him clean the room. Let him destroy the room. I will come and I will again arrange the room. But
Correct.
let him do the work what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So, and that's the only way you can build the confidence of the person because the person is trying to build a confidence. And
Mm.
again, you are going and you are asking them to do it in a certain way.
Yeah.
It is not possible.
Correct.
So, another strong message that ensure that your parents is doing whatever he wants to do and just observe and see if you feel it's a real financial loss or if it's a real physical loss then only go and intervene otherwise accept okay what will happen tomorrow again I will call someone and I
Exactly.
will do the payment.
Exactly. What is
So
the big loss? Exactly. Is it a huge financial loss? Is it a huge health
constantly
loss?
keep asking what is the biggest loss will happen with this incident if the answer is
Exactly.
no forget let him do whatever he wants.
Uh, I think what you're saying, Nirav, for me, they're all kind of life lessons, not just when you're dealing with somebody sick at home. But this is the attitude we should normally have in life, even when you're, say, dealing with work, colleagues, friends, family, even if it is not an illness. So I think you've developed it because of this, but it'll take you a long way in life. I'm really happy to know that you run the marathon. I think that's your me time, where you get to do your thing, and physically also it's like a your thing.
Exactly.
I think that's your me
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
I'm so
exactly.
glad it's a
So
very physical
exactly.
me time. It's not like you're going out, binge eating, drinking. It's not that. But this is a healthy
No,
way of.
yeah, that's also there. But I also constantly what do like another thing what I have developed that as soon as I see my father is in the good state, okay, I think every patient has a good time,
Yeah,
like
good
a
for you.
off and the
Yeah.
on episode, okay.
Yeah.
The moment I feel that he is a good couple of hours, I immediately go and do my stuff. Okay, so
Yeah.
don't complain to yourself that okay, just
You
now
will
I
get
got
a
a
time.
free.
Yeah.
again in the next 2 to 3 hours, you are again going to be engaged. So we individual also has to be very smart with our timing. Like the moment you know that okay, the person is in the good step, then don't do a time pass. Go and do your own stuff and do the stuff, etc.
Very
So
well said.
that's how I
Very well said. Very beautifully said.
so
And I'm
understand the patient off and the on episode.
correct.
And sometimes we have to be very smart. And so I observe, I don't tell everything. If I want to do something, no, I do it silently. Like as an example, I
Okay.
know that okay, at 1 o'clock I got exhausted and I want now my me time. Okay, but if I tell to my father that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want a me time, he's not going to allow at
Understand.
any
Yeah.
point in time.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I do, I will wait for his on time. So the moment 2 o'clock is on time, I will say that okay, Papa, I will come. I have a little bit of work. I will come in half. Just go away. Once you go away, it's up to you when do you want to come back, right? So then
Yeah.
you don't tell that I will not come back. That will make him more harsh. You don't
Exactly.
come back. It's okay, but don't be little bit more straightforward to them that I
Yeah.
will not come back. Then what will happen? I will constantly keep on thinking that
Yeah.
he went away, he doesn't want to come. Don't come back. I just inform my mom that okay, I'm not going to come back in the next 3 hours. You take it. That's it. You don't tell anything.
Yeah.
So you also have to be little bit of smart with your timing and manage your own schedule. Don't tell like because of you my schedule is getting disturbed. That will
Yeah.
never
Don't
happen.
say those things. Yeah. Manage your schedule
Exactly.
wisely. Correct.
That will
Definitely.
never work.
They won't understand.
And
He is not capable of understanding. Wow, that's a lot. You've given a lot. Actually, it's very interesting. I also want to go back to what you just said a little while ago, just to underline that again. You said you have to empower the other caregiver, or you have to empower people around you. This is very important. And Nirav, there is a study. I forget where I read this, but I read this that mostly male caregivers, they either empower others or they empower the person with PD or the disorder itself. It could be anything. They make the person better by saying, okay, you could do this. But they make the person affected independent. But the studies show that female caregivers don't do that. They make the person more dependent on them. When they're going to take the water, you will go give it. When they're walking, they'll be like, no, no, don't walk, you sit. Things like that. So there is a very smart way of caregiving where you can both empower the affected person and the other caregiver or the family member itself. That's a very correct way to be. It's not like washing your hands off responsibility, but if everybody becomes that much more independent, then the burden is also that much more equally divided. So I think your strategies are really beautiful. This is really great. I'm honestly saying I've never gone so past my deadline of alive with anybody. And Dana can vouch for it if she was here with me. Only when if three of us are talking, then even by then, by 1 hour, I usually, put an end. But I can continue with you for another hour, but this is really interesting. So let's do a part two later on. I would definitely like to, means let's pick up a particular aspect because this was like wide range of things that we spoke about. Let's do shorter content on particular aspects of PD. I think that will also be really useful. So finally, tell me before we close, which is something that I ask usually when we close the live, what has been your biggest learning? Not about the disorder, generally, because your father had PD and you are in this role of caregiving. Uh, how has it changed you fundamentally? What has been your biggest learning? It need not be about the disorder at all.
I think my biggest learning is that uh, I have to accept that my father cannot be a normal again, and Parkinson cannot be solved, you cannot cure.
Yeah.
And another lesson is that over the years, I think any elder, be it a Parkinson or anything, they have lived their life with certain principles for 50, 60 years. And you as a kid coming and trying to change their principle will not work. The only thing can work that accept their principle and influence or motivate your own principle in another by speaking harsh, by giving the directions, by telling something very straightforward. Very few parents will accept. Otherwise, for parents, we are always kids.
Correct.
So if I tell my father that okay, you become more traditional and straightforward, he cannot become.
Yeah.
So we have to accept their principles, their life, because they have lived for 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
We have a different principles and fundamental, but we as a kids just have to adopt.
Yeah.
If you are going to stay together, I would say that give yourself a lower priority, give themselves a higher priority, because you, whatever you fight or anything, you cannot leave them alone, they cannot leave you alone. That's the only way. So
Yeah.
at the end we all have to stay in the same room. So then don't expect them to compromise, just you compromise and let it.
Oh, wow.
So
Very well said. I
that's
mean, really, Nirav, I can't tell you. I mean, of course, I look forward to all conversations with members or caregivers. But conversation with you has been so fulfilling and really words beyond your age. I have to really say that many times. And I also want to say what a excellent role model you offer your daughter. I mean, I think now she may not realize, but maybe when she gets to your age or my age, when she looks back, I mean, you are living by example. Then she knows how her father took care of her, his father. She's seen you and the way you behave. It's not what you tell your child. It's like how you live your life. So I'm most proud of that. What a great example you are as a dad. Really hats off to you. And I'm thoroughly amazed by your maturity and your attitude towards how you're dealing with PD. Because the one thing I completely dislike hearing in Parivarthan community is let's fight Parkinson's together. I always say, no, we accept Parkinson's, we never fight Parkinson's. When you fight something, you like hate it, you want to overcome it, or you want to kill it. That's not the way you approach a disorder like PD. You have to approach it with a lot of compassion, with a lot of love, with a lot of understanding, and a lot of acceptance. And one caregiver would tell me with lot of patience. That's the attitude. It's not one aggressive fighting attitude that one can have with a disorder, which is like this. It's a very yeah, this is the attitude I approach it with, and I'm so glad that I resonate with whatever you're saying, literally with everything that you have said. So on that note, I'm going to stop the live now. So thank you so much for joining me
thanks to
today.
you guys. I one thing I forget to mention how I came to know this community, okay? Because I
Okay.
am from Mumbai.
Yeah.
Last year, as I said, I was in a crisis situation. Everything happened together, right? And I started searching on internet what are Mumbai communities, because I wanted to see, do I have a hope or do I have a light in the tunnel? I was constantly looking for that. I went and did a Google search and I found a Facebook community,
Yeah.
something related to Parkinson. I was searching something, I don't know. I got two contact. One on from the Facebook or Parivarthan, or there was a news article. I cannot recollect what it was. From there, I got a number and I contacted through that WhatsApp number, and I mentioned. Then I also spoke. Then you said that okay, uh, you were there or somebody else. Dhanashri madam, correct? What is the name?
Lakshmi, I spoke to you first, and then that
Dhanlakshmi.
was the yeah.
Dhanlakshmi, yeah. Then they explained me, no, we are mostly based out of Chennai, and outside Chennai, we have just a WhatsApp group. There is no such community, etc. But you run webinar and all those stuffs, Zoom meetings, etc. I said, okay, let me add you into that WhatsApp group. And that's how I came in that group. And after that, I think when I came, I immediately asked about all my questions, which was there at that moment.
Yeah.
Hallucination, spine TB, swallowing issue, etc.,
Yeah.
etc., etc.
Yeah.
Later on, I realized whatever so it's very good. These are very rare communities. I was also constantly searching for a Mumbai community. I also contacted one of them. Somebody is running Mumbai Parkinson, or I forgot the name. What is that? But they don't have a WhatsApp group. What they told that we have a physical group.
Yeah.
So you can bring your father once in a week to Mulund. They are keeping some physical sessions
Yeah.
where all the Parkinson patient can come and meet each other together, etc. But there is no as such WhatsApp community, at least I found. Uh, but yeah, I think thanks for that, because when I came in that WhatsApp group, I also felt very nice that I'm not alone. Okay, even though I knew I'm not alone, it's not a
Yeah.
problem. But I was not having anybody as a person to whom I can speak and I can share my question. Because
Yeah.
when I go to a doctor listen to patient, not to me. And in 10-15 minutes, nothing comes out. Only the increase of the Sandopa comes. But nobody answer my question why there is a hallucination, what can I do as a tips and tricks. I had to do all my search. And then I also got very motivated that I can share my something back to WhatsApp. That's where
Exactly.
I saw, okay, this is exactly hundreds of more people are going through it. And let me just share whatever comes to my mind. So I started doing. And then very recently I thought, okay, let me start writing something and
Yeah. You're
whatever.
writing
At least I
beautifully.
am done from my side. Whatever is there inside my heart or my mind, let me just put it out.
Yeah, that's very important. As caregivers, I think the more we share, somebody will benefit. So, just to wrap with a quick background on Parivarthan, this was started 10 years back. For those of you listening to this, I mean, most of it is our members listening, and also others also tune in. We have over 380 members who are active, like we are in touch with them regularly. This is just the members who are alive right now. That we also have had members who've been with us in the last 10 years and who have passed away. So if I add all of that, nothing less than 600 members we must have spoken to or we have been in touch with. And we do have a physical center in Chennai where we run free support therapies like yoga, physiotherapy, counseling, speech therapy, dance movement therapy, all that happens for free. And during COVID, because everything was like shut, we transformed everything to online, where we would have constantly online same version, all the therapies online, and we do a lot of support group meetings online also. During COVID we did a lot of that. We also have, like Nirav, many members who are outside of Chennai. So one way to constantly outside Chennai, even say Tamil Nadu, like Coimbatore, Madurai, who can't access our physical help, so we constantly try to have online programs for them, like we have art therapy, dance therapy, all of that happening online also, so others can also join. But much as you reach out, there are always challenges, right? Challenges with technology. How do I turn on? How do I place my camera? Nobody's there at home to help, or even physically they can't bring me to the center, so there are challenges. So we also go to their houses. We also do a lot of house visits in Chennai, so whatever way we can. And to some members we also give free medicine support, those who are completely not able to afford medicine. So whichever way possible. And like Nirav said, when nothing is possible, if you're all part of a WhatsApp group, at least they can all connect to each other as caregivers, and then talk and share and exchange ideas. So in whichever way possible, we try to help. And as you said, again, you said our tagline, we don't want any family to feel, if they have somebody with Parkinson's in the family, to feel alone. So the idea of the community is there is always a community behind you. And I'm really glad. And Nirav is one of very active on WhatsApp. I think that's my thought of, Nirav, when I said, let's do a live with a member, with a caregiver. So thanks, Nirav. Really, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Sudha. Thanks to your team. Please pass on
Yeah.
thanks to your
Stay
team.
online, but I'll just stop